What's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday. We are back with another episode of My Funded TV, brought to you by MyFundedFutures, the prop firm that you've grown to love, that you've grown to trust. There's rules set up for you. That is a special expert promo this week. As we look to the next 90 minutes here, I'm going to be joined by my friends, Miss Bull Barbie, Mr. Forrest Knight. We will be talking charts. We'll be talking ideas. We'll be talking setups. We'll be talking whatever questions that you have in the chat. Send them our way. You know the drill at this point. This is episode, I believe, 22, 23. So we are getting there. We are building that community. If you have not yet liked the stream, that's okay. It's early. Now is your chance. If you have not yet shared the stream, that's also okay, because now is your chance. Without further ado, we're going to talk about ES and NQ. And I would like to welcome Bull Barbie and Forrest Knight, VPE Forrest, on with us.
Hey,
Good morning.
We're back.
What's going on, guys?
Another day in
Market is
paradise.
marketing.
All right. Any it's an exciting week, I guess I'll say. Did either of you take any action yesterday?
I got a little bit. I'm having a really busy week personally, and so I haven't been able to put as many trades as I like. I did get one little hit in yesterday.
Okay.
That was it. But
I had a nice
all you need.
couple hundred points long that I took, right? So I called out upside targets yesterday that hit dang near to the penny on NQ, which I love being right. But I like making money a little bit more. So that was cool.
Wanted to ask, you like being right or making money more? I sort of like being right, but that's why I'm not an expert trader like you guys.
Making money. I'll gladly be wrong.
There's room for both.
$1 million bucks.
But you guys set yourself up for making money either way.
But yeah, I mean, once we jump into the charts, I can show that. I mean, it's the upside measured move target that I called out yesterday on stream, right? So combine the VP with, or really just a measured move with the node traversal and this open high, right? And that's exactly where we went to yesterday. Came off a little bit, and then overnight we have been ranging in this area. Yeah, so yeah, happy to review that here in a second, but that was a nice one and done yesterday.
All right. As we look towards today, I guess, Forrest, let's go out of order a little bit. Let's start with you and start with NQ.
Oh, wow. Cool. Let's run it. Run the play. First of all, good morning, guys. Welcome back to the stream. I know Luke already said what's up, but I got to give you a special additional what's up. So NQ and ES, if you're wondering why both charts are scrolling, by the way, I sync them up. That's something you can do in TradingView. Go to your layout and go to the layout, and you can sync some things if that's confusing for anybody. So on the 1 hour right now, like I said, we're ranging, okay, from this kind of overnight target hit, right? So we came up to the 21,324.25 on NQ. Let's just actually zoom out and just talk about this whole story again. It's probably useful, huh? Probably useful. Let's get rid of the session volume profile and let's just look at the visible range volume profile for now. So I have an alert up here at this higher level. We'll get rid of that. Doesn't really matter for now. And let's see if this thing will load. Dude, TradingView is really just...
Some days it has it out for you, I swear.
Right. They don't understand that I'm live streaming. I need the data now. Okay. So on the 4 hour, let's go out even a little bit to the daily. So same story overall. I think it's important. Since we came down here, remember on the weekly, I'm not going to change time frames again. There's this node down here. We bounced out of it. We're ripping higher. There was another shelf here that we consolidated and pushed through, and now we're coming up again through lower value towards all-time highs. On the 4 hour, we had this measured move that we did here. So the way that you do a measured move, I'll get my tool. Okay, I literally just measured from the bottom of this shape to the top of the consolidation. I do a Control-C, Control-V, and from the bottom of the shape is how I got this target right here. Coincidentally, as traders, we're always looking for confluence, right? So whenever I do a measure move structure for a bull flag or a pennant or whatever the shape is, it doesn't really matter. I want to see how likely it is. Likelihood is determined by confluence. So that's going to be a mix of the volume profile, and in addition to the volume profile is just one aspect of auction mechanics, open highs, right? So again, last man theory, somebody was here. The reason why these pivots get swept so often is exactly for that reason. Okay, once we sweep this high, the market temporarily will run out of juice, right? So we swept that high, and that's exactly what we saw, right? So once we got to that price level yesterday, market tapered off. Literally immediately, it pushed through and it started ranging. So if I wanted to replay that tactic here, so I'll do another measure move. It's going to be a little bit tighter this time. So I go from where there's an unbroken, not necessarily candle, but I measure from outside the consolidation. So I'm going to measure from the top of the previous consolidation up to here, and then Control C, Control V. And you can see that the waves are getting smaller, right? So a push like this, we can see that it does have confluence with these other highs to the left. Go figure. And eventually what's going to happen is price action is going to break down as these waves get tighter and tighter. So my next target, since I went ahead and measured it, we'll just put it right here. All right, upside. It'll be a little bit tighter of a day. I want to go and check though. What is on the calendar today? I actually haven't even looked yet. I've been, like you, Barbie, very busy. But yeah, I want to see what's on the economic calendar. Is there anything on the economic calendar today, guys, off the top of your head?
Hold on.
It's dead. It's crickets.
Okay, yeah, that vibes with a tighter kind of grind up day. So that would be my upside target. Downside target in Q. So let's just label this.
And Forrest, real quick, on the upside, will you call out the levels?
Upside target is 21,619.25, right? So this was yesterday's target that got hit to the penny. Yesterday's target. Okay, that's a price that could get retested. Get rid of these little arrows. I have a whole video on how to do measure moves, by the way, if that was too fast, guys. Literally just go to my channel, type measure moves. I'm sure it'll pop up. Maybe. I don't know. Downside target. All right, so we have a gap. There's an imbalance below. Where's my tools at? There's this obvious gap below, right? So we'll add our session volume profile. And let's think in liquidity terms as well. So yesterday's POC is down here at 20,901. It's not naked, but there is an obvious shelf here, right? And then we just have this gap below. So if the market gets weak, it's going to go for this gap. That's the most obvious target. If we're just going to continue like a very bullish move upwards, right? We could do something like this and then push higher, right? We could have a very
so Forrest. So basically, if we're moving higher, we could come down to that point of control and then rally off of that. Is that the idea?
Yep, very similar. I mean, we've done POC retests quite a few times on the way up, and yeah, that would be very possible. And what's interesting about this move here is, since it is kind of the market's getting tighter, this would almost look like a break of structure, right? It's going to be a deep cut compared to, just the kind of the flagging that we've had, but it'll lose juice at this POC and then go up, right? And we'll have that N shape kind of maneuver, which will put us right at that upside target. So that's one possibility. Again, the other possibility is the market just comes off for this gap. I don't see that happening today with no data, honestly, and it's a very bullish kind of trend that we're in. If we look towards tomorrow, we have PPI tomorrow as well. So you have to also keep in mind narratively for the week that there is another tier 1 event. We've got core retail sales and PPI tomorrow. So today is going to be positioning for tomorrow, because tomorrow is going to give us another move in the market, almost certainly. So that's something to keep in mind in terms of how the week has to form. This weekly candle, let's go to the weekly candle, needs to make sense. So this might be like really something that a lot of you guys aren't thinking about, but like intraday or during the week, you need to think about, how does the weekly candle need to form? What would make sense for the weekly? Talked about this before. It's very unlikely that we have a 2,000 point weekly candle. So if you're someone who's immensely bullish, knowing that the week has already pushed 1,000 points, And we don't have to use a special indicator for like, ranges. We can just look at the charts. We can just look at the other candles, go, VIX is going down. Okay. Volatility go down. Candles are about this big. There's a 2,000 point candle back here, but the candles are getting smaller. How likely is it that we get another 2,000 point candle straight to all-time highs, right? From here on Wednesday? Very unlikely, right? Most likely we're going to start top wicking or something. We're going to put a little top wick in on this candle. So think about that as you're trading intraday, even if you're trading the smaller time frames, even if you're bullish, like the thing can only go up so much in a week, right? Makes sense when you say it out loud, but it's something that's easy to forget when you're zoomed in on the 2-minute chart. That was a long spiel, but that's it.
It was a good spiel.
Thank you for you.
Long but good spiel. Barbie.
Yep.
Over to you. ES. How are we looking?
Well, a lot of kind of similar notes to what Forrest was talking about too. So he put up the weekly. I'm not going to go out to the weekly just yet, but this is the daily on ES. And it's the same kind of thing. I'm always looking. I have my bold targets on the more macro scale. And once we get there, it's kind of like that play is played out. And I'm not, while we could keep, climbing higher, I do kind of have a plan for that. It gets less and less likely the farther we push into these bull targets. And we did kind of get my main one yesterday, so I'll show you all that one. And then let me switch over to data just real quick, because we had touched on this, but yeah, not much going on today. And when we have these big holes in the data, that kind of lends itself to chop. And so I do have a chop scenario. The nice thing about these nice big ranges that the market has been giving us is even when we do have chop, because there's not much going on today and we're sandwiched between all of these big events, we can still get some stuff going on. So I'll dive into the hourly chart, and I'm doing it naked with no, I'm not naked, the chart's naked with no levels for a second, because I think it's kind of nice to see the breakdown of where each of these days goes sometimes. And you can see, obviously, we're in this just very vertical diagonal uptrend, but there's some very clear resistance overhead right now. So, and we do have this gap down below, which is really easy to see without all the stuff on there. But if I move over to my markup chart, I'm going to focus on this area right here. So the main, and I left these pre-market levels on from yesterday because I think they could potentially kind of be some levels that we chopped down to. But what I'm looking for is, even yesterday, I was kind of looking to see some sellers up here in the 59.24 area, kind of up to 59.30. I added this box on top of my level because I thought this could kind of be a zone full of sellers and maybe not just that high from yesterday that we were watching. And so I'm still watching that level up there on ES. It's the 59.24 to 30 area, and I'm just really, this was a target, and so once we get to a bull target, I really have to evaluate, are we going to keep going for the other one? And we could. But first, we have to deal with the sellers that are sitting up here at this 25 level. So if we are able to get through, that would look like basically we had to have to hold this 5,900 century mark. If we're going to keep climbing higher, we're really probably not. We might test down here, but we're not going to go holding below 5,900 if we're going to keep climbing higher. So if we hold 5,900 and are able to work through these sellers, we do have another target to push through up there to 5,970. The hard thing when we start pushing these levels, whenever we're pushing either an all-time high or a new swing high that we haven't visited in a while, there's just so likely to be a big sell order up here that can cause big shots back down in the market. And that's why I'm not as risk on today up here as I was earlier in the week. I've been coming out very, very bullish. I'm trying to make a distinction. Even though I'm still bullish on the market, I'm a lot more cautious that we're ready for a pullback. And when I talk about the Mo roll and kind of how I watch the market breathe, it says that on multiple time frames. And so right now we might be looking for that exhale back down a little bit. So if we're not bullish and we end up chopping, there's a lot of room to chop in here. And if we travel up into, I mean, we've already kind of tested this, but if we continue to test this area up here, the 59.25 to 30, and can't get through, I think we're just going to kind of take it do level to level chop. So testing the 5,900, do we break through? Can we get down to 58.85? Can we get down to 58.77? And just kind of chopping through all of these levels. The 87 is the big one. This would be like the really kind of bullishy chop, just kind of making a little zipper pattern up here. Getting through, there's still room to retrace through here and still be bullish. So I want to point out we can still retrace through all these levels and still be bullish. But the other retracement levels that I'm looking at, well, we also kind of have this overnight. I didn't mark this one, but we do have this overnight low that's kind of right underneath because it's right below that 5,900. That's another one that I'll be watching. So then we had the 58.85, 58.87. That's going to be a big one. If we do get through here, it's a little bit more bearish scenario below 58.77. If we hold through there, that's that high wick from Monday. And then it's also kind of where we launched yesterday as well. So that's going to be a really important support level. If we get through that one, that's when we can start talking about some bigger bearish moves down to 58.50, 58.35, and that sort of thing. I do think that the chop scenario and the bearish scenario are going to be kind of messier, so it may not be as clean trading today. But it's what Forrest was speaking on when we don't have a ton of data and we're just kind of setting up for what's coming later in the week. That's kind of expected a little bit too.
So Barbie, can you call out those levels for us one more time?
Yeah, so I mean, the main one that I'm looking to hold above is the 59.24. You can call it 25 because I don't think it's precise, up to about 30. And then above, I still have 59.70, and we could even potentially be looking for that 6,000 if we get in some sort of short squeeze and get these sellers out of the way. But again, that's kind of less likely for me today. I think that we're more likely to chop around below the 59.25 to 30 area. We might even kind of hold around the 5,900 a little bit. That might kind of be where we just kind of naturally move away from and then back down to. But then we've also got 58.85, 58.77, 58.50. And even the low from the other day down here at 58.35 is one I'm kind of watching too. That's why I left these levels on here. And I think kind of the lowest we could possibly go, I don't know if I mentioned this one down here, the 58.14 I think is really, really important. If we're maintaining the chop to bullish on a macro sense, we really should be holding the 58.14. If we don't, that's when we could start talking about gap fill and stuff. If we get below 58.14, that's the bearish scenario there. That's when we could start talking about getting ugly and filling in gap and working on these lower levels down here. And if y'all want the gap levels real quick too, I'll give those to you fresh. It's 57.39.25 on the top and 56.84 on the bottom.
So that's a heck of a run to get down there.
It is a heck of a run. So that might be something that sometimes you got to kind of keep these ideas. Maybe we'll do it later in the week if the PPI and everything comes out poorly tomorrow. We might be looking at more of those, but really chopping around the pre-market from today and the price action from yesterday is my most likely scenario for today.
Okay. And Forrest seems to be in a similar boat.
I agree.
Forrest, I think, is a little more optimistic, or maybe bullish is a better word than you.
I'm not really more bullish. Same. I just have if we go up, it's going to be that measured move to 21,619.25. I mean, we are holding right around very, very high here in the morning, right? So we sit in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, I agree kind of.
The bullish
really
play is getting harder to follow through on, I think, is one way that I'm seeing it.
Yeah, it's gonna be grindy for sure. But I agree overall with Barbie's kind of take. Like again, there's no data today. It's rangy. We do have pretty big imbalance to the downside, right? So skinny belly here below. There aren't a lot of people here. There's liquidity down here from this POC on the 12th. So yeah.
All right. I see a good comment in the chat. Before asking for a reset, at least like the stream.
That's a good point, actually.
It's a good point. It's true. If you have not liked the stream yet, don't worry. We aren't frustrated quite yet. You still have the opportunity now to do so. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, you still have the opportunity to do so. If you have not shared the stream yet, you still have the opportunity to do so. Barbie, Forrest, I dropped a poll in the chat asking on bias for today. We got about 200 votes so far. 59% bullish, 41% bearish. I mean, pretty much an even split. I think it sort of speaks to the chop that you both are discussing.
Can I ask the chat a question, Luke?
Please.
I want to ask people a question. Guys, who was green on the week and who's red on the week? If you're green on the week, go ahead and type green. If you're red on the week, go ahead and type red. I'm curious how
That's
good
great.
chat is.
It's a great question. And if you are red, don't be ashamed to type red. Like, I think we're gonna have some poll bias where people who are red on the week are gonna be more reticent to answer. Don't worry. We're all one big community.
Okay, I see it. A lot of greens in there. Some reds, Okay.
A purple and an orange, but might have some colorblind folks.
All right, so this is a question for those of you who are red, right? If you're someone who typed red in the chat, I feel for you. I've been there myself. What mistake did you make, right? Or what do you want to know? What mistake did you make, and what would you like to ask, myself or Barbie, so we can make next week a better week? I'm really, really curious. Someone said red for reset. No.
I was wondering where you were going with this. I was wondering if you're going to tell people if they're green to just relax today because it's going to be choppy, and if they're red, not.
That's good. That's good advice. I mean, if today feels a little harder and you're green on the week, keep your money. If you're red on the week, maybe today's not the day to make it back. Someone said shorted a rocket. Oof, yeah, knife catching. Knife catching is
The way I look at it is some days are easier than others, and it might be for me. It might be a day that's hard for me is easy for somebody else, and a day that's easy for me it's hard for somebody else. It just depends on how you see the market. But if the day looks hard for me and I'm not seeing anything easy, then that's kind of how I help base that decision a little bit. I'll either go risk off or not push it. So
someone said took a valid trade, got stopped out, then went dumb. Not going to read what they said. Chasing price with entries instead of letting runners do the work. Okay. Yeah. Don't do that. Yeah. A lot of people, I think, were just shorting. They were shorting into the green. Trend days are hard. Trend days are hard for a lot of people. Trend days were actually used to be my worst days. That's actually pretty, I don't know if it's common. It's common for me. Like when I looked at my trend days were my worst days for years, guys. So if you're someone who struggles with that,
why were those your worst days, Forrest?
It's because you're always looking for the reversal. You're always looking for the V. Yep. And so you just have to understand that when we're in a strong trend, you have to play the trend, right? You have to play the trend, right? And just again, it's literally just turning that switch off in your brain that says we're trending. I'm just gonna go long. Right. Even still, right? Just have a long bias. If you're just long bias, right, you'll eat drawdown. Just lower your leverage to as small as possible. Go 1 M&Q or 1 MES. Go long and just hold that sucker. Obviously, if you go long right now at the literal highs of the move, you're probably going to be immediately red. But the point is that would have worked as a strategy. So you just have to beat that into your psyche. But I feel for you. It was tough. It took me a while. That was before I was trading volume profile as well. Right now, it's not as hard because I could just see volume accumulating at the edges and a few other
whether
things.
It's volume profile or some other strategy, it's finding that strategy that helps you see what you need to do. Because you're gonna be wrong sometimes. I see that a lot. Like, what happened to this trade? What did I do wrong? It's like, well, sometimes you're on that percentage where the trade doesn't work out.
Yeah, even the best.
Barbie, what percentage of weeks would you say are green weeks for you versus red weeks?
Well, I think because I trade more conservatively, I very rarely have a red week, but I might have a kind of scratchy flat week where I haven't really made any movement. I kind of consider that a bad week. But my first year, it was probably 50-50. And I've just improved that a lot. The other day I was talking about working on my A game versus my B game and my C game. And it was when that light bulb went off to work on improving how I trade badly. That really, it's just, I don't have massive red weeks anymore. That just doesn't happen. because then now I'm much better at identifying when I'm having a bad time and getting out of my own way. But then also, I don't have the full tilt days. I might go punish an account that's failing or something, like a little eval that I'm almost done with. But in general, I don't. I just get away from the charts. I have the discipline now to get away from the charts.
Well, good on you.
I feel like you have to be glued to the charts when you first start, and then you get more and more comfortable walking away. And so now, you know, it's just part of my day. It's like, oh, it's time to go move on and do something else. But
something else I'm curious about that I want to ask the chat is, how long have you been trading? You know what? Actually, I'm going to make a poll for this instead of asking.
I was going to say, let's do a poll. Because I think, in my group too, I've got people that have started this year, and I've got people who have been trading for 30 years, and it's a fun mix.
That's the cool thing about trading. Like in my community, it's we have some really young people, like very young, and then we have people like in their late 60s. You know, it really is something that brings people together, which is weird to say, is because it's also full of a ton of toxicity, but I enjoy it. We all enjoy it, or we wouldn't be here.
All right, poll's up. You don't need to put your answer in the chat. If you want to put your answer in the chat, that's great. But you don't need to. I bucketed it in sort of small time increments. I did 0 to 1 year, 1 to 2 years, and then, or 1 to 3 years, and then 3+ years. And I'm sort of looking at that as like, you know, just getting going, intermediate, spending, you know, up to 3 years figuring yourself out, and in 3 years you've probably developed a system and a strategy and your personality in the markets by then. So that's how I bucketed it. Take a peek. We'll check in on it in a second.
2 minutes from the open here.
The time is 9:28 a.m. Eastern.
We've turned Luke into a robot.
Yeah, Luke is getting robotic. I don't know if that was me or...
I thought it was me for a second, and then somebody else said something.
Luke is glitching out. He's full glitch.
He is a robot, actually. That's the big secret. Y'all caught us.
Discovered.
Luke's a robot.
Yeah, as I think he was about to say, we are coming into the open. Here we're pushing down a little bit lower. NQ POC 21,272. I guess they can't change the thing while they're lagging, but we'll take a look at ES as well.
I got you. We're on your chart.
Yeah, ESPOC lower 59.04. So yeah, I would expect us to kind of fill in this day, guys. This will become more of a D-shaped day and start ranging. I suspect the alternative is this is going to stay glued to this upside for a while, even at the open. If it starts to stay glued here when we build value higher, then maybe it'll you know, start to push higher, but I suspect it's going to come.
I've noticed ES is just really glued between that, really roughly, but between 5,900 and 5,924 there.
Yeah, it's been stuck up there, and you can see, yeah, there's this little.
And now we're open, and it's still just like, yep, I'm still here. It's like does not want to move.
Yeah, it's glued up there, so we'll see. You know, we'll see what happens. Very patient day. Today's the type of day too where if it does range, you could be very patient, wait for like some trend line to form on the lowers, and like if you wanted to scalp, maybe it's a good scalping session, right? Just wait for some technicals to line up. I'm not really too interested in that personally. Well, I really want to see if we start to set up this move for higher again. You know,
yeah, I don't want to get chopped out. Since back to not wanting to go red on the week, there's no sense of getting chopped up on a Wednesday when we had good trading yesterday and should have probably some better trading tomorrow.
Yeah, a couple hundred points either way if we get confirmation of a down move or this up move. So instead of looking for like 10, 15, 20, 30 in this range, you know, if I can catch 200 on the upside, cool. On the downside, if we start to break down, I mean, there's 300 on the downside, you know, so.
Do you like the downside for follow through more than the upside today? It's kind of, I was wondering about that a little bit. The downside looks kind of choppy and the upside looks restrictive to me.
we would need to get, I mean, we're going to get a down candle, a red candle with some serious volume on like the 2 or the 4. If we start to come off, there's going to be some volume, some serious volume that comes in, because again, it's going to be aggressive profit taking. Anyone who's been longing this entire time,
Yeah.
right? They're going to start
and especially
racing.
when things slow down, that's when people start thinking, oh yeah, I got to get that booked.
Yeah, they're going to start racing psychologically. Think when you're like greedy, right? We've all been there. You're greedy. You're like, man, I'm going to get a little bit more. I'm going to get a little bit more. Then it starts going against you. Then it goes against you a little bit more. So in mass, people are going to start racing to get out. And when you race to get out, you're essentially marketing on the sell side. So sell side competition goes up. And that's how you get these juicy sell-offs near these edges. So yeah, if we get downside, it'll be easy to know if we have confirmation, because we should see a lot of volume come in. But right now, yeah, we're pushing higher. Bullish, guys. Very bullish day.
All right. I'm back.
He's back.
Yay.
Got
I'm
him.
an AI.
You're not a robot. You got oiled or whatever you needed, but get you charged.
Yeah, I'm an AI.
Robot Luke is charged.
Exactly. The prompts, we stopped feeding prompts, and we got the prompts cooking again.
What do I
All
think
right.
about gold?
So you've got oiled up Luke here, ready to give out some giveaways. What should the level be, Forrest and Barbie? We're at 600 right now. What are we looking for?
750? Is that too ambitious? That's not too ambitious.
Not too ambitious.
800.
800?
750 is good.
800.
What are we at, 5 or 6 right now? What do you say?
6. All right, we're looking for 8.
Either's fine.
No, you called it 8. If you want to help yourself and help others on our march to 800 viewers, you would like the stream, you share the stream, you get your grandma to sign into the stream. You know, I'm oiled up and ready for giveaways. Oil yourself up, oil your friends up, get them ready for some giveaways, and we get cooking. We're a couple of minutes off the open. It's 9:33. You know, you've heard the comments from Forrest and Barbie about the potential for chop, and then also the potential for
meanwhile, Nasdaq's pushing, making crazy moves.
If only someone said go long and just hold that sucker.
That is,
a lot of
yeah. Wow.
Didn't think of that. I want to do this for a second. Every day we deliver the most interesting chart of the day. So I'd like to take a cut to do that, so that way we can give another 4 or 5 minutes on NASDAQ to see some candles develop and see how we're looking. Again, we're still only about 3 minutes off the open here. So I'd like to do a little segue to our most interesting chart of the day. I'm going to drop in this one as well. Whoever has the best question for Forrest is going to win a free expert account.
Oh, for me. You're making me
Yeah,
work
like that.
So, Barbie, what is the most interesting chart of the day? And then we're going to cut back to NQ, and we're going to figure out who came up with the most interesting question for Forrest. Right now, the leading question is Forrest. How are you? It's a good question.
I'm
but
good.
We want a little stronger than that.
Well, today I couldn't not talk about NVIDIA. My watermark's gone, but y'all can see it. This is NVIDIA. And the reason you can tell it's NVIDIA is it's been hanging around down here and then has had this fun little launch up here. I have the regular trading hours on. I can kind of turn the extended on. We can get some more data in there. But yeah, lots and lots of pushing up on NVIDIA. And I know everyone's been asking why. Part of it is it's NVIDIA and it's kind of our big old meme stock. But we also had some stuff come out about Nancy buying some NVIDIA. And so that, I think, helped the push, but also that wasn't the only reason. So why was Nancy buying NVIDIA? I mean, it's the dominant AI chip maker still. So there's definitely a lot of competition in that market, but they are the big AI name, no matter how you slice it. they always have volatile earnings, but they always seem to find their way back up. This is what I keep telling my chat. Like NVIDIA goes below 100, Barbie's buying. So that, of course, that worked out again this time. There have been a lot of concerns about China and all that stuff, but whenever we get news that kind of quells that China drama a little bit, we get a nice little move back up on NVIDIA. So NVIDIA Nancy did buy more. I think it was through her husband. She bought, I pulled this up. She had a buy of 10,000 shares. So that's millions of dollars that she spent buying some more NVIDIA. Same thing. She must be in the Trading Ranch Discord, and she needs to buy NVIDIA under 100. But also, what they're looking at, so the AI is expanding. It's getting into more and more markets. It's not just AI. Will you please make me a stupid picture of a Barbie doing something? There's actually, it's getting expanded into more and more businesses. We heard our guest yesterday talking about using it for coding a little bit. You have to kind of learn how to do that, but people are learning how to use AI to do all sorts of things. We're getting into more and more businesses that way. Microsoft and Meta are kind of the other big ones that are involved in NVIDIA. And so what we need to pay attention is what are they doing as well, the other big players, not just Microsoft and NVIDIA, but they're just the two biggest names. And they're investing more. So that's another big bullish move for NVIDIA. And sure enough, here we are. It's the big mover overnight, and it's been the big mover this week so far. Oh, and then the Chinese news, of course. I think I mentioned that earlier, but the Chinese news with the tariffs, of course, is really helping NVIDIA. The chat is wild. I don't know how y'all are going to pick a best question for Forrest. But Forrest is busy over there. Because I was going to ask y'all what you think about NVIDIA, but it's going to get buried. So
My entire life. It's crazy.
And how are you going to answer all these questions?
I mean, these are great, guys. There's a lot of actually really good questions in here, so I'm impressed. W for the chat. I appreciate y'all.
Big old W.
These are good questions. I mean, these are questions that we could we could spend the next 2 weeks answering these.
We rallied above 800 too. The chat is showing out today.
Yeah, so there are a few themes that I've seen.
Well, you got to pick one, Forrest, or do you want me to pick for you?
Goodness.
If you've got a theme, just pick one from that theme.
All right, I've got one from this theme. Okay, I know a few of you asked similar questions.
Whoa.
There can only be one. Okay, but this is from PB Trading or Peanut Butter.
PB.
It says, Forrest, looking back at the time when you first started, how did you overcome overtrading, not following your rules? Because as a beginner, I can't seem to fix either of them, right? So I'll tag PB Trading right there. A few of you asked similar questions. There was also questions about identifying trends and things like that. There were a lot of really good questions. So how did I overcome overtrading as a newbie? So I feel like, obviously, this isn't super unique. Like, people come up with a bunch of different systems. I had a background, so I ran track. I ran track in college as well. And that gave me the experience of doing something that was really hard, right? I was trying to make the, what year was that? I can't remember how old I am. I was trying to qualify for the Olympics back in the day. I blew out my second knee, and that kind of ended my, Olympic aspirations. But I had experience working really hard on something. And so I think trading, because it's so accessible, right? You can get an account, you could throw $100 into, Trade-Evade account and start trading, even if you don't prop trade, right? It's so accessible. People forget how hard it is to actually be a successful trader. But I already knew what it was like to wake up every day and work really hard on something, psychologically, expect to be the best, right? So first and foremost, you have to expect to win. You have to have an idea and a conception of yourself that you are the literal fucking best, right? I try to stay humble and stuff like that, but I believe in myself. And when I walk in a room, I expect people to know I'm there, right? You have to think like that as a trader, because you're competing against the entire world in the markets, right? And so when you look at what you did today, all the mistakes that you were making as a beginner, over trading. Would a successful trader overtrade? No. Would a successful trader wake up at 9:30 a.m.? No. Would a successful trader knife catch over and over again? No. Would a successful trader trade without tracking their performance? No. Would a successful trader, go all day without eating or 2 days in a row without eating or doing, seeing any sunlight? No. Right. So there's all these like very simple things that you don't have to like even try to think of what they are. Just first ask yourself, what would a successful trader do? Right. The ideal version of myself as a profitable trader, there's probably some imagination that you have. Like you probably have an idea of what who that person is, how they think, where they wake up, the weather, everything, right? And just start doing that shit, right? Just do all of it. Be crazy. You have to be absolutely insane about it, guys. I'm telling you, you have to be insane. Like when I was running track in college, I knew I was like number 6 in the nation in one of my events. I knew the people by name who are faster than me. Like you need to be crazy, guys. You need to be crazy. I'm telling you, you need to be crazy, because if you just wake up and roll out of bed and hope that you make money, you're not going to make money. So that's what I would say philosophically, tactically. I'm all about making things tangible. So journal, write things down. I've mentioned the post-it notes. I tell every new trader I mention to do the post-it note method because it works so freaking well. If you're over trading, just get 3 post-it notes. I'll say it every day. Put it on your desk. 1, 2, 3. And every time you take a trade, crumple one up and throw it away. And when you're out of post-its, you're out of trades. It's so simple. And most people don't do it because they know that if they do it, they won't be able to overtrade. Right. So your friction in even doing that process is because it's going to keep you accountable and you don't want to be accountable. So you got to become accountable. So that's my whole spiel. I could talk about this stuff for hours. I love.
Well, I absolutely agree with you though, because that's what I'm always telling people too. I didn't know this when I started trading, but I wasn't just learning how to trade. I was learning how to be a more disciplined, just a better person. So the side, the side thing that happens when you learn to trade is you also get fit and more disciplined and everything else too. And I think someone was asking, like, well, how do you know when you're there? Maybe you don't. I think it's a gradual thing. It's like any habit. You develop it every single day, working on that habit day after day. And kind of before you know it, it just kind of happens. It's not like you can put it on the calendar. It's like on the 18th, this is going to happen and I'm going to be a good trader. You keep going through the process and keep going through the process and everything falls into place. And before you know it, you're there. I like your main character energy thing too, though. I think with any with anything that you want to be successful at, there's the hard work. There's all these ingredients that you have to put in. We did that iceberg thing the other day, like everything you don't see about success. But there is one of the ingredients is just a little bit of delusion. So
100%. Yeah, you've got to be, again, because trading is so hard. It's just not, you're not going to be successful unless you're crazy about it. It's just not possible. Yes, I'm the guy on the MFF videos. That is, I think that would be obvious, but someone was asking.
No, I'm the guy. Just kidding.
You're me? That's crazy. Identity's getting confusing.
Freaky Friday. We did talk about that last week.
Yeah. I'll trade places with Forrest.
Oh, someone asked you a crazy question.
If you had a crystal ball that could predict the market's next move with 70% accuracy, but it would fail unpredictably 30% of the time, would you become a billionaire or would it destroy you? I think pretty much by definition, I would become a billionaire.
Well, it comes down to risk management. It comes down to math. Trading
is every position
that's
the same,
money
hits
management.
70%.
Well, for a while, but what happens if you get a little greedy?
That's where it might destroy me.
Yeah. Trading is one of the only things where you could win. Realistically, you could win 1,000 trades in a row, guys. And on the 1,001st trade, you could lose all your money.
Mm-hmm.
Trading's one. It's so unique like that. It's also the inverse is true. You could lose 7 trades in a row, and then the 8th trade be profitable on the day, right? The amount of money that you make in trading is purely a factor of leverage or lose.
And money management is such a huge thing. I know people that have trading strategies that work 40% of the time, but the risk to reward is so good on it that they're still nicely profitable on that. The strategy is really more the money management than the entry.
Yeah.
All right. Forrest called out the level of 800 live concurrent viewers that we wanted on the stream.
Let's go.
In order to do our round of giveaways. I don't know if we got there or not, so let me know whether or not we got there. I know a couple of you are saying the website's down. Don't worry. Our AI team is on it.
You see what you could? That's how you know that Luke is a robot, because the website goes down and Luke went down.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like our AI team. They got me back online, oiled up, working. And they'll get the website oiled up and running as well. Okay, don't worry. We're closing in. We're getting somewhat close to this 10 a.m. mark. Each day on this show, we deliver for you a segment of education. So not only are we talking about charts, levels, ideas, questions from the chat, et cetera, whatever it takes to make you a better trader. We also try to build in some linear education, little segments that you can stack to help you develop yourself and your skills as a trader. Today, so far, we talked about ES. We've talked about NQ. We've got a couple other assets we'll look at, including gold and VIX in a little bit here. But without further ado, Barbie, I'd like to cut to you for some education. And in about 5 minutes here, I'm going to have a little giveaway action.
Alrighty. Well, I just have the charts for us to look at today because I wanted to do kind of another more mental talk, but this one I wanted to kind of focus on prop firms. So if you're using prop firms for funding, I have self-funded accounts and prop-funded accounts. I know that not everyone has that, and some people are just starting out and they only have prop-funded accounts. I think that so if you're using a prop firm, you should kind of pretend like it's your own funds, because if you had your own funds, would you be trading your own funds or would you be trading prop firm funds? If you had your own funds, you're probably doing something like me where you could kind of do both. So if you're trading only prop firm funds, you've got to treat that like it's your main account and like it's your real funds. But that also comes with a lot of, whether you're trading your own funds or a prop firm, we have to deal with the prop firm rules. And that can kind of, there's the trading's hard. And we have all these hard things that we're dealing with in trading, with charts and entries and all this stuff. And then we add the prop firm rules on top of it. And so it can make things a little bit hard. And instead of getting really, really focused on the prop firm rules, we need to stay focused on our trades. So we need to be really, really, really sure that our plan works within the prop firm rules. So when we're coming up with a trading plan, as long as our plan fits within those rules, then we don't have to sit there and think about all the individual prop rules for every single trade. So in order to do that, I think that we have to kind of, this is the homework. This is the homework you have to do to become a successful trader, is kind of sit down and kind of work through what all the different things, why are you at a prop firm and what are you looking for out of the prop firm? So one of the things that I've noticed most about newer traders is they tend to have unrealistic expectations. So if you had your own funds, you're probably going to baby it a lot more. If you put your own $2,000 in, you're going to be really, really careful with it, and you're not going to be hitting all those bad setups. Something happens when we go into prop and we're like, it doesn't matter. It's not that good of a setup, but if it doesn't work, it's just a prop. And that's not really a very good attitude to have. So you need to think about every single trade that you take as something that you're using to get towards your goal. It's a means to get towards that pass. If you are just throwing any trade on just because it's a prop, you're going to end up over trading. So a lot of traders were asking earlier about how do you not over trade. Treat it like it's real money. Treat it like it's real funds. If you're just thinking, oh, it's a prop, I can put bad trades on in a prop. I do this too sometimes. I'm guilty of this too. It's like, oh, I'm not sure about that. I'll put it on in a prop. It's not a good mindset. It's not. So even though you're being evaluated and you're being watched over, you still cannot be over trading in a prop firm. The other thing is worrying about the drawdown rules. This is huge, huge, huge in the prop firm space. This is every single trader that has lost their first account. I swear, when I go look at it and help them with it, it's the drawdown rules. So we all know about drawdown. It's trailing you, right? If you move your account up, whether it's realized or unrealized gains with some firms, your trailing drawdown is going to move up. With MyFundedFutures, it's only calculated at the end of the day. So you have to watch that at the end of the day. And the way I think about that is, what if I withdrew my profits at the end of the day? That's how I'm resetting it. So if I make $500, I'm taking out $500. And that's the way, because actually that's the way I used to manage my own funds. But if you're in a prop with the intraday trailing drawdown, you might start with $2,000, but it shrinks to $600 really, really fast. And so that's one thing when you're picking an account, you want to make sure you pick an account that's setting you up for success. So if you're not going to be able to trade with that intraday drawdown, don't get an account with one. And then we were talking about revenge trading a little bit earlier too. I guess I was talking about this yesterday too, but we've all been there. It's like, I want this long. It's got to go long. I want this long. And I've been there too, where it's just I'm fighting for that long, and it doesn't happen. You can't keep fighting that same idea in a live account over and over and over. If you have to push the button for satisfaction, that's why we have paper accounts. But we're sticking to the plan, so we're not putting any trades into a prop account that we wouldn't normally trade that's not a part of our plan. And that discipline, I know sometimes it can be harder on a prop account, but if you can train that, as I'm telling you, if you train that discipline, it's going to stick with you. So at this point now, like I have a lot going on. We've had animal emergencies. I don't have the help I normally have. We've got end of the school year. My brain is in a million different places this week. But I had a good setup happen yesterday, and it just really came naturally, and I didn't have to think about it. But that's come from years of discipline. So even though I was tired, the setup ended up, it was just real natural, but that's because I've made myself disciplined to take that trade the same way over and over and over. And I'm not saying, maybe. I'm never going to do that. And that's why even on the bad day, on my C days and my B days, I can still pull out a profit. And then, so like I was saying, so the prop firm can be your fast track to capital. I know but when I'm working with new traders, that's always the goals. I don't have the funds. If I don't have the funds to start my own account, the prop firm payouts can give me that money that I want, so that I can do kind of the ultimate goal of running your own funds and then adding leverage that you can copy trades to with the prop firms. But you still have to treat it, if you want that. If you want to have all the prop firms and self-funded and all these accounts, you have to treat it like you're a professional, like you're the person that can manage those accounts. If you come in acting reckless, it's kind of back to Forrest thing. So you got to fake it till you make it a little bit, right? You come in and work like you're the professional trader that has all these funds that you like, and not like it's a lottery ticket. So you gotta work every single day like you're working towards the ultimate goal. There's a lot of chat. I was trying to see if I had any questions there.
Chat zooming.
You got a lot of W Barbies.
Good questions. I love the W Barbies. I'm not complaining.
No, that was good. That was great advice. I mean, that's massive for all you guys who are, trading props. You need to internalize what was just said.
Internalize it. Boom. All right. We're dumping a little bit. We're closing in on the 10 a.m. candle, Forrest. What do we got here?
So I do have to address your statement of dumping. I don't think we're dumping.
Okay.
I think semantics are important, not just in trading, but in life. But we are getting that, we're filling in the shape, right? It's becoming more normally distributed, right? And that fits in what we said, right? If we expect it to be a choppier, tighter day, then the volume profile is going to become more of a D-shaped VP. Okay, we came down to the point of control, and that groks. That makes sense, right? So this will probably come down to VAL, I imagine, retest VAL at some point, and then it'll bounce back up higher. I will say, if, and this is a big if we're getting some feedback from something. Yes, it's just such VAL, but if they had both respected the POC there and bounced, that would be a little bullish, but mostly I just expect it to range. Now, if this cracks lower, right, we have all this skinny belly. If it starts to hold volume, like I said, if we get a ton of volume coming on the sell side and it holds below VAL, then yeah, we'll start to race to the downside. But my primary thesis, guys, has not changed. Right? I think sometimes I say people listen to the last thing you said and like, oh, that's what's happening now. It's like, no, it's just if this, then that. I'm just expecting to get the range until proven otherwise. Okay, it's basically how I'm treating the market today. So if you wanted to short, you should have shorted at the highs, which we were at for a while. Okay, not right now. I'm gonna call it out. And I'm standing up because my back hurts. I'm old. Tweak something. I don't know what I tweaked. Tweaked something bad though. Someone asked me, I guess since I have a floor, someone asked me, did I ever have a period where I got too confident and it burned me? Yeah, 100%. So you want to be confident, but mostly neutral as a trader. You don't want to get too euphoric. I mentioned this, I think literally yesterday, the other day. Like if you're on a win streak, you can get burned out. I was listening to, I had a lot of traders here in the studio. Jade Cap, I don't know if you guys have heard of him. That's another trader. He's also on YouTube. Don't know him that well, but he was doing a podcast here, and he mentioned as well as a ton of other traders that were here. There's like 40 or so traders coming through the studio that week. It's pretty common for once you're on a euphoric run to like anticipate a red day coming. You just learn that because you can get too confident. So yeah, I mean, he had mentioned it and a few other traders have mentioned it. So it's definitely a thing. My biggest loss was I mentioned this before, I lost $500,000 while I was road tripping in Egypt. It's because I thought I was untouchable. I got touched. So that's what happens, like, but still here. It's just money. Comes back. Like Denzel said, devil sits at the top. Sure.
I was kind of looking at that, the dump a little bit too. I see this in the chat all the time. ES is dumping, or they'll put the Elmo or whatever. And it's like, no, that's just where the level was that we were talking about chopping. So yeah, that's.
Well, it looks dumpy if you go to the 1
super
minute.
Low time frame. But yeah, I was looking at, we're still in that 5,900 to 5,924 range. So.
I think some people trade like this.
Chat says that I think we're going where everyone's been watching the Diddy news. They think we need the baby oil for Luke.
Oh, geez. I haven't been keeping up with maybe that. I mean, we could probably go on a whole tangent on that. I mean, not much else going on. Someone asked about gold. Maybe, what are your thoughts on gold, Barbie? You got the charts up right now.
I hadn't even looked at gold yet today, but we can go ahead and take a look at it. Whoa. Where's our gold futures?
GC.
Why is it? I always have it on my other chart. I usually look at it on NinjaTrader. Yeah, it is just gold GC on here. Oh yeah, there's my markup chart too. Oh yeah, we've been making moves lower. So that when the ES is feeling really, really good, I think I've talked about this with bonds before too. When ES is happy, let's say that you have $1 million. It's not yours. It's all your friends pulled together $1 million, but you agree that you're always going to have that $1 million at work. Where are you going to put it? If the markets are down, if you don't want to put it in SPY because SPY sucks right now, where are you going to put it? And bonds are one of those, and gold is one of those. But if the indexes are doing really good, the market's doing really, really good, and you want to kind of put some risk on back in the market, then you're going to pull some of that out of gold or whatever you'd put it in and put it back in the S&P. So I kind of think that's what's happening on gold a little bit right now. It's definitely making moves lower. And we had some support there. That's what I was just zooming out to look, around 32.11. So we've broken through that support with some high volume. Let me go zoom in on this part right here.
Yeah, I kind of see an M shape on gold. And I have my downside target, macro target 29.83.1, which is just coincidentally, not really coincidentally, but there's a big shelf there and that previous low on the 4 hour, right? But it kind of
I'm noticing that. So that major support that we just pulled out, I mean, this is the way I look at it. This candle totally engulfed that level. It just ripped right through it. And I'm looking down here and I see high volume. So that's just a very bearish signal. Now it's kind of bear flagging, and I haven't even zoomed out far enough to see your target down there. But I was looking at my magic levels because these are going to be monthly levels. Yeah, I've got a big old monthly magic level right there at 29.69.
Magic.
29.70.
Magic.
They're magic because they're auto magical. So it could be if we're going to keep walking up on ES, that supports this move down on gold as well. What if we take a look at? Well, I don't know if Luke's ready. Is Luke ready? I'm not going to take over here.
No, I'm ready. Can I run a concept by you guys?
Do it. Run it by me. What you got?
What if the giveaway today, the first giveaway, we've got a couple queued up. The first giveaway is not a giveaway of resets. It's not a giveaway of accounts, but a giveaway of knowledge.
Ooh.
An extra nugget of knowledge.
Teach the people how to fish, huh?
Teach some people how to fish. What do you think of that?
Oh, well, I don't know how to fish. I ain't gonna lie.
Well,
You're
like
in Miami and you don't know how to fish? Oh my God. I'm going to have to come to Miami.
A lot of folks
to
in chat say they
fish.
like that type of giveaway, it seems.
Someone said LLL life lessons with Luke. I see you in the chat.
Yeah.
We're gonna make it a thing. We're gonna make it a thing. Oh,
all right,
man.
Well, you like
nuggets with sauce
for the giveaway?
Let's hit them with a giveaway, Luke. I think the people need it. Do they deserve it? Probably not, honestly. If we're objectively honest, guys, I don't think you guys deserve it. But we love you. And our love.
They already had to wait because we had to oil up Luke.
I'm oiled up. I had a challenging morning. I started a little slow, but I'm oiled up now.
We got it. That was me yesterday. I just could not get everything going. It happens.
All right. It's going to be resets, folks. In order to be eligible to win, you must be a subscriber on this channel. So if you not yet hit that subscribe button, you can do so now. If you have not yet liked the stream, you can do so now. So you need to have liked the stream as well in order to be eligible for the giveaways. Can someone give me the like count? On YouTube Studio, I can't see the likes. Can somebody give me the like count, please, on this thing?
I got to refresh.
I'm trying to refresh too. I have 411.
1738. No, I'm kidding. It's 970.
Peanut Butter says 412, so he just remembered to like.
We're looking at likes 424.
424. All right. So 424 of you are eligible to win this giveaway. Again, you must be a subscriber. So it's only 300 of you that are eligible to win this giveaway. Code is going on the screen now. Level up. Code level up. 50 of you, that's right, 50 of you are winning free resets. Code level up on the screen now. Chat speed slows to a halt as everybody's going for it.
Should
you
have made
chose
it
code level
up.
You're leveled up. I'm leveled up. The levels are leveled up. And we're all getting oiled today.
I don't like that, Luke.
You don't like that? Our website was down and we had to oil up the machines and we got it rolling. And my AI lagged out. I think there are some people out there who still believe that I'm a real person. And they don't realize that I'm just an AI bot.
Yeah, guys. Barbie and I sat down for 80 hours just like jamming out an AI bot. And we decided to call it Luke.
Yeah, this is what happens when you put two nerds together. Luke is born.
Yeah. It is crazy that people still think I'm a real person. But I guess that just speaks to your competency, not only in the markets, but also in software engineering. All right, folks, we've got 2 more giveaways queued up for you today. Again, 2 more queued up. I'm starting the next level at 1100. We're at 960 on the stream now. Looking for 1100. Statements have not been verified by MyFundedFutures. They decided to run that banner after we disclosed to you all that I'm an AI bot and not a real person. Barbie, I cut you off. You were about to keep running on more assets. You were just looking at gold. You had something else.
I was about to ask Forrest, because I know this is one of his babies, but I can start on it too. I was looking at VIX because we had talking about VIX, but we haven't yet.
Let's take a look.
I noticed that we made a low around wow, we were under 18. I thought we went down to 18. We actually cracked 18, and it's been bouncing off of that a little bit, but
yeah, VIX is cratering. So I have my next VIX pivot 1701. And that goes with, I mean, I'm really gonna be a broken record, but that's how it's supposed to be, guys, honestly. Your overall macro thesis shouldn't change too much day by day. VIX is coming lower, right? Volatility is coming off. VIX go down, market go up generally. It's not always the case, by the way. They can go in the same direction sometimes. But on the macro, VIX is coming off. The market's going up. We have this next VIX pivot, 1701. What do I mean by that, right? So when VIX hits these pivots, it will pivot. It'll do like a little sweep retest. And so we can expect a reaction around that. And if I line this up with what was happening on the indices, it's probably going to coincide with some sweep of a level or something. There's typically confluence there. I mostly pay attention to the overall level and trend of the VIX more so than the actual pivots nowadays, to be honest. I used to watch the VIX every day when I was trading intraday, especially when I was trading on shorter time frames. Now, not so much. I care really, what is the overall level of the VIX? Why? How volatile is the market? How long can I hold a trade today? So if I'm going to supposedly long the low of the day, go for the high of the day, I can properly manage my expectations for what the move is based off of the expected volatility, right? The ATR is going to be bigger or smaller depending on the level of the VIX, yada, yada, yada. But in general, yeah, we're in this red zone, which is the traditional range of the VIX. Not traditional, but where the VIX has been ranging for a long time now. We can see going back, about a year and a half. So yeah, we got this VIX pivot coming up. I would keep an eye on this. Let's even just put an alert on this line, and we'll just put here VIX pivot crossed here, right? So I'll expect something at that point. If VIX gets down into the 12, I'm gonna let you guys know right now. If you started trading very recently for some reason, and the market's been very volatile, the days are going to get a lot tighter if the VIX gets back into like the 12 or 13s. Okay.
This is what I keep telling them is we've been getting these 20-point trades on ES like every day. And that's not normal.
It's not normal at all. It is. There was, I don't know if you remember, there was a period where like the average day on ES was like 10 points.
That's what I've been trying to tell everyone. Like, you don't understand. Like, we were making money in 10 points.
Yeah,
it was painful, but we were doing it. That's when I became the Iron Condor Queen, but I wasn't getting anything on those. It was taking all day, and I wasn't getting very much on them.
Yeah, that would be, if we get to that period, that's where I would consider then going back to more of a scanner approach to the market and looking for setups across the market instead of just on tickers. The thing was, in the market right now, ES and NQ are basically always in play. Maybe not.
They were for me then too, but that's when I started looking more at crude and things like that, so I could have something that was actually moving.
Yeah,
because we still were getting moves. It was just much smaller. So that's back in the days when I was taking multiple ES contracts, and I think that's actually some perspective that we might have that traders who have started this year haven't when they're sizing in a prop account, because some of them say you can take 10 ES or 20 ESs or whatever in a $2,000 account, which will make your account go away real fast. But the reason that you might be able to use more ESs, or if somebody's talking about that, is because they were trading when we were having 10 or 20 point ES ranges.
Yeah, I mean, you can get lucky, guys.
I was taking 2-point trades sometimes. I was taking profit at 2 points, but I would have multiple contracts on. But at the same time, my stop was really close like that too.
I mean, technically, what'll happen is as we get lower, is my money will just slow down. I'll just become more of a swing trader. And what is nice about that though is that it gets easier to trade options in that environment, in my opinion. Because you're not getting smoked as fast on your positions, and so you can hold like two or three DTE options trades with a little bit more confidence and less volatility to your P&L. But futures will slow down. So there's always like a give and take in every market environment. And also just like you said, if you're somebody who's taking a massive amount of contracts in a 2K account, you can get lucky. Like maybe you flip the coin and you're green the first time, but the second or third time or even the fourth time you do that, you're gonna blow that thing up. So
well, what I had noticed, like the adjustment that I had to make, is because I was used to trading on a day. Well, even if we were getting a 30-point range on the day, so that's what my brackets were set up for. And when we started getting these extreme, the Trump ranges, really, I was getting stopped, and it wasn't that I didn't have good ideas; it's that I didn't have my tools set up to capture it properly. So I've had to make adjustments there. So sometimes it's just that it's like I wasn't becoming a worse trader. It's just I had to adapt my tools a little bit. And I've been talking to some older traders. I had the podcast I do on Fridays. We were talking about he's been hating this market. He's been avoiding it. He's been trading it at night, but he traded in the 80s and 90s when everything was a lot slower, and he's just not comfortable in this. And it's going to be an adjustment. It'll be interesting to see how the traders that started in this do. Although I think if you can trade in this, you'll be able to adapt, because that's when you'll be able to size up and things.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it really doesn't matter, like, or how would I word this? You need like 4 or 5 years as a trader, because you have to actually see how you perform in different market environments. Like you could be someone who's like, you're finally consistently profitable for like an entire year, and then you get beat up in the next cycle, and it's just like there's no way to experience that without time, right? It doesn't matter how good you are, right? The meta is going to shift on you, and so you have to be able to like experience all the different types of markets just to gain that experience, and it just takes time, right? That's why people are like, hey, I want to learn super fast. I'm just like, dude, it's going to take years. Even if you're good, it's going to take years, because you haven't seen it.
There's a lot of lessons you have to learn, yeah. And then the thing that's been for me, just I haven't been day trading as long as I've been investing in things. I started day trading during the whole COVID deal when everybody was at home, but in that short period of time, the market has changed a lot, and that's kind of been one of the big skills that I've had to develop, is recognizing when the market is changing and adapting to it. And that's why I always focus on perspective and context, because if I have that perspective and I have that context, then I can put my playbook and my strategies inside of that, and that's how I'm able to adapt. So I might have had a technical issue where my brackets were too tight and things, but I was able to figure that out and adapt because I was taking everything in context.
To your point, the market has actually fundamentally changed. So people might not know this, but a few years ago, zeros didn't exist in the way that they do today, as well as retail access to leverage. So the actual breadth of the market has increased exponentially with just the amount of strikes or derivatives that can be traded, right? So the market's way more liquid now, like way more liquid now than it's ever been. Just due to that. And then when
you're talking about the 0 DTE. So even when I started trading, we had contracts expired. The weeklies were the fastest contract you could get it in, and that expired on Friday. So if you get in on Monday, it's not going to move as much as when you get in on Friday. So we kind of had this weekly pattern to how, or at least how I was structuring my trades. And then I don't know when that was. Was that 2 years ago or?
It was just a few years ago. Like people who started trading now have no idea how good they have it. Like the market has changed a lot. It's changed a lot.
So that 130 trade that we do in the group, that trade exists because of the daily 0 DTEs.
Oh, like you're looking for like
we do an end of day iron condor, and so otherwise we would only be able to do that weekly. And when I actually started learning option spreads, we were doing those weekly, and I was able to adapt to doing those every day. It was weird though, because we didn't have back testing when it first started, so that was a little scary. Yeah, Boba knows the afternoon ass clincher.
Anyone remember when you had to buy a newspaper to check stock prices? Well, I'm not that old.
I don't even know if
But,
you remember that. I was about to say.
No, that was a comment in the.
Okay.
I'm not that old. I'm in my mid-30s. So I'm not
You like to
that
act like a grandpa, but
my joints are like 65. That's the thing. I've been beat up. Been absolutely beat up. Yeah, not much happening in the markets, unfortunately. Like, I'm looking at the charts right
I
here.
just saw that comment too, and I was like, "Yep."
There's literally we're doing what we said, guys. Like we both said, it's very likely going to be a tight range day. This is what that looks like. So
Forrest,
what you got?
Let me ask you this. Role play a little bit.
Ooh.
Let's say. Okay. Let's say
Sorry.
that you're in an eval.
Okay.
You're working to pass your eval.
All right.
And you've got a choppy day like this.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? How do you approach it? You feel some pressure. Maybe you shouldn't, but you do feel some pressure to make trades. I mean, how do you approach a day like this?
I think I'm gonna full port. No, I'm kidding. Someone said Forrest full port for sure. If I'm in an eval today, right? MyFundedFutures, guys. Let's imagine I have a 150K expert account. It's the best account in the game, and I'm feeling.
And you can get 30% off the expert account with the code I'm going to put in the chat and a link in the chat and code YouTube. But keep going.
You can get 30% off. You could be a starter plan, whatever account you have, guys. It's fine. Honestly, this will apply to all of those. I would be very hesitant to put on risk today, especially right now. And let's just look at what the market is telling us, right? Let's not even get too crazy. Ignore the VP. Ignore really any system. Okay, let's just look at some candlesticks. Since we've opened, okay, if we ask ourselves how far has the market traversed, right? We have this candle, the candle after it is right on top of it, the candle after it right on top of it, the candle after it right on top of it, and we have another candle whose candle body and wicks are right on top of it. We're literally barcoding, right? We have some wicks in here, but the candles are stacked. We're not getting price action, okay? Not even on the 15-minute time frame, which is a pretty low time frame, okay? Now, if you go super zoomed in, possibly, but if I'm in an eval, right? I'm role playing. I just got my eval today. I really want to pass. I really want to pass like in a day because you can pass accounts in a day. Maybe I don't. Okay, the market is open every single day. What I would do today is go to TradingView, go to the sim trade tool, not the what am I looking for? Trading panel. I was coding up an indicator there. Ignore that. Paper trading. Okay. Go to some paper trade account. You can make infinite number of these. Let's make one together right now. Okay. Let's just put, I don't know, whatever it is. Let's just call it, I want it to pass today, but instead I'll do nothing. So I'll hit create. I've got a new paper account. And now I can test out some hypothesis, collect some data without risking money on a day that's probably really hard. Okay. Or not even probably. Today is hard, guys. It's a tighter day. You're not getting clean price action. Okay. We already did that traversal across the VP that I was mentioning, that first move down, and it's going to chop into lunch very, very likely. So if I were you, that trader in that position, if I really wanted to trade, I would just sim trade like this, right? I would, test out some stops, things like that, get some data and see how good I would have done. And if at the end of the day, after sim trading all day, you're like, wow, I had a 10% win rate today. Thank God I didn't trade. You know what I mean? So you can still get something out of today, right? Make it useful, get some data, get some practice in without blowing up your account. That's what I would do. But I would not, put all my eggs in today. I mean, days like yesterday are what you want to be in the market on, right? Hold long. It was stupid easy. Get 200 plus points long, in one trade. It's like brain off trading. Today is very brain on trading. If you're in my group, I hate working hard in the markets. Okay, just wait until the market's like, yo, do this, and then just do that. But if you're like, man, what if it does this? What if it does that? What if it does this? Oh, I can see. And it's just so many signs and reasons not to trade. You know what I mean? So that's how I would approach it.
Okay. Barbie, any comment or feedback on that? You're in an eval. You got a choppy day.
Yeah, well, I think he has a good point. There's because I was kind of talking about this a little bit easier too. I look at it. I use different language, but I'm really looking at the same skill, which is I want to put my risk on when it makes sense and it's flowing and it's easy for me, and I want to avoid the market when it's hard and it doesn't make as much sense and I'm more likely to get chopped out. So I have the same thing too, where I'm just like, man, I want to get that account done. And sometimes I'll have one that's really close. It just needs a couple $100s or something. I'm like, man, why want to give it to me today? But instead of getting frustrated with myself for not being able to get that account done today, my outlook, at least these days, because I've graduated into better trading, is that it's not my fault. It's the market's fault. The market's not giving it to me. And I'm not going to be able to force something that the market's not doing. I don't have control over the market. There's, how much money is in ES today? I don't even know. It's more than I can picture. I know that. So I'm not going to try to force something against that with my little tiny account. And especially if it's an eval account, that's not even in the real market. You're literally just, using the numbers. So there's days when the market is going to be easier, and that's when I want to focus my efforts in an eval or live funds.
Agreed.
Okay.
And to Barbie's point, right? When it's easy, guys, then I cannot iterate this enough. Here's another way to flip it, right? There are days when it's easy and there's days when it's hard, right? Barbie just said it. What if I told you that this Friday was going to be one of the easiest trading days you've ever ran into? Like, why would you do anything today? Why would you do anything tomorrow? You would just sit on your hands until Friday, right? But it's like that. It's easy to imagine when someone's like telling you, like, hey, don't do it. You just have to have that level of self-control. And then you can leverage up, because the amount of money that you make in trading is just a factor of leverage. You could leverage up on Friday, right? You can, like people say full porting is bad. There are some occasions where you got to full port, guys, right? If the stars align and like you wake up and you see a vision, like, full port, check your heart rate first. But the flip side is also true, right? If the stars aren't aligned, price action is bad, you didn't get good sleep, you got in a fight with your partner or whatever reason, then maybe don't trade or risk off, right? You just relax. But the easy days are coming.
I love it. Big breath. Relax. Get on it. Okay. All right. Folks, it's almost time for the Ash Man. He's a real ashy guy. Ash Ketchum. I don't know. I'm out of Ash jokes.
The Ash Man.
Yeah, I've been.
You need to make a list for tomorrow. That's your homework.
Yeah. If you could help me on that, any Ash puns, that'd be great.
We need a list.
I've been doing
of
it for
Ash
6 days now. I ran out of all the ones I had. Day 1 and 2 were easy.
Yeah, I got. He may need a little bit more oil.
All right. But he's an Ash Man, and he will be joining us shortly here. Ash Ketchum, for our next hour of content. But before that, Barbie, Forrest, final thoughts. Barbie, I'll go to you first.
Well, I think we kind of wrapped that up a little bit, but we're at least on ES, we're still in that range that I had warned everybody about, the 5,900 to 5,925, and that's not really a range that I really want to be involved with. I've been working on this trade, and so I was kind of updating my community about it this morning. We did have this trade workout, and I did actually kind of scalp this real quick. So one of my missions today, I've had a really rough, crazy start to the week, and I haven't gotten to do back testing. So I was just telling them this is one that I'm going to back test today. I'll give you a little sneak preview. This is my orb tool, and when I'm combining the orb plus the VWAPs, I'm getting really good results. And I can't tell you the percentage yet because I haven't back tested it. So I'm hoping to get that done today while the market is a little bit slower. And as long as we stay in this range, that's what the market's telling me to do, is telling me to go work on some other things. Because sometimes I'm stressed out because I want to sit down and trade, but my brain's thinking about all these other things that I have to do. So when the market's not doing anything, I want to go get that list done so that that's out of my brain when I come back and sit to trade the next time. So that's where I'm at today.
Nice.
Forrest?
I am setting some alerts right now. So I just set one for overnight low. I'm going to do the morning high alert there, and I'm going to do the same thing on ES. And I'm going to not look at this chart again until these alerts fire. That's my plan. There's literally not anything worth doing, in my opinion, today until we hit one of these key levels. So that's my plan. So I got my bracket set. 2 p.m. I'll take a look, see if there's anything interesting that has formed. But yeah, I'm out the game for today. The wrap for me. Also, free webinar this Saturday, 1 p.m. If you want to sign up, go to learnvpe.com. We've had over 40 people sign up. See if we can get that number up to 100. Totally free, guys. It's just going to be the VPE system overview. I like teaching and talking. So
yeah, Forrest, what you said it's Sunday?
Saturday,
1
p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
So Forrest,
what's up?
Saturday morning, I wake up, I have some cereal, I hit the gym, get showered up, oiled up for the day.
Oiled up.
It's 1 p.m. and I'm ready to lock in with you for an hour or two.
Yeah.
What could I expect to get from that?
Yeah, so I'm going to talk specifically about the underlying kind of principles of my trading system. So it'll be just auction theory, how I think of it, right? A lot of people say they trade auction theory. Some examples of how I think about it, psychology, right? I always say that people are bees, right? And so a lot of the movements in the markets are really easy to predict if you can imagine where people are positioned and how they would emotionally respond to that positioning, right? So we'll talk about that, and then we're going to go straight into the charts, just example after example after example after example after example after example after example. So it's going to be the application. We're going to squeeze that into an hour, so come check it out. Probably do a few of these. Been meaning to do it for a while, but yeah, it's free, totally free webinars. Join in.
All right. Barbie, how do we stay in touch?
I am all over YouTube, Bull Barbie Trading. I also have a lot of links at bullbarbie.com. So I have links to the Discord and my Instagram, which is bull.barbie, and the YouTube. If you can't figure out how to search for Bull Barbie, there's a link there too. And yeah, all my info is bullbarbie.com. And of course, you can find me here in the morning.
All right. Well, folks, thank you for hanging out. Stay tuned. The next hour with the Ashman himself is starting now. All right. We got this sideways chop. We've got Ash on. Ash, are you strong?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good, but I'm wondering if you're strong.
Strong as in lifting weights, or?
Sure.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely enjoy going to the gym. That is for sure.
So not only are you ready to catch them all with your trades, but you're also strong, crispy haircut, birthday week-ish. Ready
Definitely
to rock?
Ready to go. Ready for another good day. All
right. In the first 90 minutes, we got our website oiled up and running. I'll just stop there. We talked about ES, NQ, VIX, gold, a couple stocks in there. We talked about on these sideways chop days, how do you manage your evals? We got the chat ready to roll. Ready for you. I guess the question for the chat is, should we do a giveaway during this segment? I know last time that we did a giveaway, some folks were saying, they'd rather us not interrupt the flow of things and just keep the content going with the Unicorn Man himself. But Chad, I guess if you want me to hop in and interrupt Ash and do a giveaway in a little bit here, I guess let me know.
Sounds like a great idea to me.
You think we should do one?
I think we should.
All right. Then stay tuned, people. If you have not yet liked the stream or shared the stream, that's okay. We're just getting rolling. No shame on you yet. but it will be shame on you in about 10 minutes if you have not taken those actions. Ash, what can we expect in the next 60 minutes here?
Well, we haven't spoke much about oil. I'm going to bring something new to the table today. I'm going to go over the oil chart, talk about some positioning that occurred there earlier this morning. We haven't spoke much about it. The model remains the same, but it's just a different asset. So going to go over the model that I trade within a different asset, essentially.
All right. It is hilarious. We had quite a bit of oil conversation in the first 90 minutes of the stream here. And we didn't even have that and are bringing oil in as the asset. It is sort of wild.
Sometimes everything happens for a reason. So
everything happens for a reason.
CL.
All right, Ash, I'm going to let you run. And I'll be back in about 10, 12 minutes to interrupt you with a handful of questions and maybe a little surprise for the chat.
Very good. Sounds good.
Still me.
Well, hello, chat. How is everybody doing today on this fine morning? Before I get into any information, I want to see how everybody's doing. Throw a 1 in the chat if you're green on the day. Throw a 2 in the chat if you're red on the day, and throw a 3 in the chat if you have yet to take a position today. See how everybody's doing? Handful of 1s, couple 2s, some more 2s, some 3s now. Okay, so mixed bag it looks like. Okay, well, the first thing I have to say before I get into any information, just a quick little mindset tip, okay? Your past does not reflect your future, all right? Don't allow prior losses to deter future experiences. Start with a clean slate every single day. You need to remain objective to price and provide your sole attention on focusing on risk management and allow yourself to focus on the process, allow the results to be a byproduct of that. So don't carry over any prior experiences. Focus on the now, be present. Don't worry about the future. Focus on working hard every single chance you can get. Okay, and that's what we're going to do now. So let's go over an oil position that occurred this morning. It's going to look the same as it always has because I trade the same model. My justifications to my actions each day remain the same because I need to have a defined cause and effect type of relation to my decision making. There needs to be reasons why or how I do things. That way, it could become muscle memory so I could replicate it. We need to have a repeatable skill so that we can conduct the model over time. Okay, so I'm going to walk through that now. Let's take a look at CL. You can see that this is the continuous contract for oil. Okay. The way that I determine a bias is I get out on the daily chart and I'm looking at swing highs, swing lows, and FVGs, right? Imbalances. So taking a look at the daily chart on oil, we can see this bearish imbalance here. You can see that price had no issue going right through this bearish imbalance. And when it did, it created multiple bullish imbalances. Okay, so for me, this shows me that price is reaching higher. And what is it reaching higher for? We have beautiful equal highs here. Okay, so let alone being able to definitively define a bias by looking at swing highs, swing lows, and FVGs, I can also state that there's a very clear draw on liquidity. For me, equal highs or equal lows are one of the best forms of draw on liquidity, right? So you can see this swing high here and the previous day high are almost exactly the same price for the high of day. That's what an equal high is. Okay, so when you have equal highs or equal lows, they work as a good draw on liquidity, what price is reaching for. Okay, so in my opinion, I have a bullish bias on oil due to the imbalances, right? The bearish imbalance. Price did a great job going right through it. And when it did, it created bullish imbalances. That is the logic to why I'm saying I would have a bullish bias. Then along with a bullish bias, it's very clear to what it's reaching for. Previous day high, because the previous day high are equal highs. Okay, so take all of that logic, then go to the hourly chart to look for a higher time frame point of interest to engage with that bias. Now, a couple streams ago, we had that conversation about higher time frame points of interest to position yourself. Okay. You can see here that we have a bullish imbalance, right? So within a bullish bias, I would want to be looking for longs from a higher time frame bullish point of interest. For me, those higher time frame bullish points of interest are swing lows and bullish FVGs. Okay, so you're quite literally getting the entire game plan with the logic that goes into the decision making. Now that we're able to create a game plan, now that we're able to find a higher time frame point of interest to engage with that game plan, that's when we go down to an entry function time frame. For me, the majority of my trades occur on the 5-minute chart. So that's what I mean by entry function time frame. So now here on the 5-minute chart, you can see when price tapped into this hourly FEG, that's when I begin looking for the entry function that I use to engage with price. Okay, so the entry function that I use is the unicorn model. Everybody knows that at this point. The unicorn model for a long position is a swing low, a swing high, a new low, then a new high. Each one of these has to be a swing point, right? So swing low, swing high, new low, new high. Each one of those locations needs to be a swing point. Okay, so let's take a look within price action. You can see here that when we tapped into this hourly FVG, that's when we begin to look for our entry function. You get a swing low here. You get a swing high here. You're getting a new low here. Then you get a new high. Right? So at this moment in time, this is when I would be calling this a bullish unicorn. I would then outline the highest up close candle before the leg down that took liquidity. This is the bullish breaker. When I get a bullish breaker, I want to see that there's an FVG aligned with the breaker, and you can see it here. Okay, so now you have a bullish breaker that also has a bullish FVG. This to me is what a long position is. Okay, so this is how I would then position myself for this long position. I would enter at the beginning of the breaker with a stop loss at the low, and I would aim for 2R. this is what a long position would look for me. Notice what's going into the long position. You have to understand the logic. Okay? You have to understand that it starts with the higher time frame, that it's aligned with that higher time frame logic. All right? The bullish bias with a bullish higher time frame point of interest, then you get a bullish entry function. Okay, so after this confirmation, right, which occurred at 6:30 a.m. here, entering from the beginning of the breaker with a stop loss below it is what I'd be looking for and aiming for 2R. Okay, so we'll go ahead and play it out now. All right, so this would be a long position right here. Stop loss would go at the low. Take profit would be at 2R. And then at that moment in time, that's when you have to understand your management, right? Are you the type of individual that does a fixed 1 to 2 risk to reward? Okay. Or are you the type of individual that raises their stop loss once it goes into profit? Because that would make a difference. That would make a difference in terms of this management, because let's assume that you're a fixed 1 to 2 risk to reward trader. That type of trader is going to end up getting a profit out of this, whereas the individual that raises their stop loss when we go into profit is going to hit a break-even trade here. Okay, so the important takeaways from the conversation are the logic that goes into the decision making. Okay, aligning yourself with the higher time frame, positioning yourself at a higher time frame point of interest, then having an entry function to allow you to engage with price. Okay, understanding draw on liquidity, another very important topic. Again, you can see all the failure swings here. Good area for price to draw to. All right, so that was the long from oil this morning. For anybody that has any questions or comments and want to go over it, feel free to throw it in chat and we can go over it. That is the logic that goes into the decision making for these entries. All right, so feel free to throw any questions or comments in chat and we can go over it. I'm going to point to 2 more important concepts here. Okay. Understanding institutional swing points is very important. Let's take a look at this. Okay, let's take a look at this. A swing high has to have lower highs on each side of it. Okay, a swing low has to have higher lows on each side of it. A swing high can be equal highs as long as it has lower highs on each side of it. Right, so take a look at these 2 candles here. Notice how it's equal highs. But this is still a defined swing high because it has lower highs on each side of it. It's important to understand that equal highs can also be a swing point. Same thing for equal lows. You can see it here. You have equal lows right there. You can see how it has higher lows on each side of it. So it's very important to understand that equal highs or equal lows can also be swing points, locations where price has changed direction. Okay, that's That's a key concept to understand. Next thing that I would want to point out is the imbalance. Okay, so when using this model, if the imbalance remains left open before you get an entry, right? So this is where the unicorn model is confirmed, okay? At this very moment in time. During this confirmation, you can see that price has not rebalanced this imbalance here, okay? Price has not rebalanced this imbalance before you get an entry, right? So the entry on the long would occur here. And notice how the imbalance is still left open. This is one of the strongest forms of momentum, when an imbalance is left open like this. And that's why it's another important concept. Okay? If this imbalance is left open, this entry function looks stronger than if it was rebalanced before you were given an entry. Some very key takeaways here, some logic in terms of the decision making. I would also bring this concept of the imbalance being left open to NQ and ES for my bias. So now that we completed the conversation regarding the long in oil this morning, we can then go look at NQ and ES bias, which explains why I'm still bullish on NQ and ES. Look at these imbalances that are occurring. Notice how they're leaving them open. This is what momentum is. The bulls are clearly in control. The bulls are clearly in control. So, in my opinion, the trend is your friend until the end of the trend. I would not go against the trend. The bulls are clearly in control. I would continue to keep looking for longs because of it. Okay, so anybody that was able to take advantage of those long-term positions that we spoke about during my first appearance on MyFundedTV, I mean, you're sitting pretty in, plus 15% on a long-term position. Right, at this moment in time, it's just a time to be patient. Allow those long-term positions to continue appreciating. And I would be targeting new all-time highs for those long-term positions. Okay, so that's my opinion in terms of bias on NQ. And you can say the same exact thing for ES. It's the correlated pair. It should be moving the same at the same time. Okay, so new all-time highs will end up being the target. So what the market has always done ever since the market was created. So that'll be the overall target for myself. I'll continue to keep allowing those long-term positions to appreciate. In my opinion, it's a time to be patient. It's not a time to be over trading on smaller time frames, right? And this will explain that. Look at how we're just kind of stuck inside of a range at the moment. We're just going sideways at this moment. There's no reason to force yourself upon price. There's no reason to force against the higher time frame order flow. Okay. So that is the viewpoint on NQ and ES. Still looking for higher prices. We can go ahead and watch what occurs throughout the session to see if that's right or wrong. I would not be surprised at a new high of day here. Okay. So looking for higher prices on NQ and ES. Beautiful long position on CL this morning. If you guys have any questions or comments, if you want to go over any information regarding that analysis, feel free to throw it in chat and we can go over that now. Hi, Ash. Thank you for this. It is really good training. Can you tell me why the 5-minute chart for the entry and not the 1-minute chart? That's a personal preference. Okay. If you want to trade on the 1-minute chart, be my guest, right? You should obtain your data from prior trades. So what I'm saying is, do you operate better on the 5-minute chart or do you operate better on the 1-minute chart? It's going to be unique to every single person in here, right? So you might be better at operating on the 1-minute chart, whereas I might be better at operating on the 5-minute chart. You understand what I'm saying? It's a unique experience to the operator. We're not all the same. You're going to be better at doing something. I'm going to be better at doing something. It comes down to your prior data, and you should be objective to that. If your data shows you that the majority of your losses occur on the 1-minute chart, then I would advise you to get off the 1-minute chart. See what I'm saying? And that's why journaling is so important. In my opinion, journaling will be the best learning opportunity for yourself. You should be journaling all of your trades. The reasons why you take the trade, how you feel during the trade, what made you take the trade. You should be documenting as much as possible because that's going to be your best learning experience. That's where you're going to collect that data, where you can find conviction. Okay, so.
Ash.
There he is.
I've got a couple things that I'm convicted in too.
What is that?
One, I love America. Look at this.
Wow.
Look how big this soda is.
I mean, that is larger than your entire head.
$1.40.
Wow. Deadly.
We're not doing this outside of America, okay? So I'm convicted in that.
That's a steal right there.
You know what else I'm convicted in?
What's that?
And I love this chat.
Chat is very active today.
They're oiled up.
Yeah.
They're rocking.
Seems like it. It says Luke's drinking the oil.
I'm drinking the oil, baby. This is, I don't know how many ounces. 1 million ounces of Mountain Dew.
Yeah, it's like a 2-liter soda right there.
I'm also convicted that as a thank you to Ash for being here with us, and as a thank you to Ash for taking us through the content, we should do a giveaway.
There you go. That'll make people happy.
Are you convicted, Ash, that we should do a giveaway?
There's a lot of conviction in a giveaway at the moment.
All right. Are you convicted that it's always good to force trades even if you don't have them?
That I'm not convicted in.
You're not convicted in. Okay.
That I have no conviction in. We should not be forcing ourselves upon the market.
Got it. Okay. All right. For all of you revenge traders out there that forced one too many trades, that didn't journal, that stayed on the 1-minute candles, You have not been listening to Ash every single day. I have resets for you. Okay? Reset your accounts. It's not free accounts. Chillax. I don't want to hear it. Oh my God, it's already starting. Stop. If you're typing that you want free accounts, stop yourself. Okay? Relax. I'm giving away $15,000 worth of freebies today, and you're going to complain about them. Chill. All right? I have these resets. Restart your account. Restart with Ash. Restart with MyFundedTV. Code is going on the screen now. WinZone. What do you think of that one, Ash? WinZone, you like it?
WinZone. Code WinZone for free resets. We have 50 of them, so gonna have to be quick.
Oh, yeah, it's gone by this point. If you waited for Ash to get to the word quick, you missed out.
Yeah.
If you got them, tell us in the chat that you got it. If you think that we are the most fun stream on YouTube, tell us that too. We try to have some fun with it. We make sure that we stay hydrated. More convicted. Ashy.
Yes.
Are you very annoyed that I just interrupted you for 5 minutes?
I think chat is very happy, and I'm preparing for my next question. So I think it was a good interruption.
Okay, well timed. I always have to guess, when's like the right time. All right, Ash. One more conviction question for you.
Go ahead.
Should we do another round of giveaways today?
It depends. I think this one needs to hit a goal here. What are we at? Let's see where we're at here. This is a perfect goal. Everybody knows I love 1K likes. I've been screaming 1K likes every time I'm on stream. And we're only at 916. So very achievable. But I think we need to get to 1K likes first before the next giveaway.
All right. Can I double down on this, Ash?
Feel free. Double down on it.
All right. If we get to 1K likes, the next round of giveaways are on Ash himself.
There you go.
He's whipping out the credit card, swiping it for you guys. Double down.
Going to be accounts too. Or maybe should it be resets?
You can't ask that question. They spaz out on you.
Yeah.
I see HABZ Habs says, better be resets or I'm a crash out. So, okay.
Might have to
all right, Ash, back over to you. I'll stop interrupting.
All righty. So I wanted to see where chat is at for the day. Threw it on screen for a reason. Are we bullish? Are we bearish? I want to see what chat thinks. Is it more likely that we see a new high of the session, or is it more likely that we see a new low of the session? Let's see where everybody sits. Throw it in chat. Bullish or bearish? Is it more likely that we see new low of session or new high of session?
And Ash, while you're waiting for that to come in, I'm going to give you a little bit more duties.
Okay.
But whoever has the best question for you on this stream is going to get a free expert account.
Wow.
To stop all the BS of you saying you want more free stuff when we giving away almost $500,000 worth of freebies in a month. We're incentivizing the right behavior. So whoever has the best question for Ash between now and the end of the stream is getting a free expert account.
Very good. All right. So you heard the man. Throw it in chat. It needs to be a question that provides value. Okay. Yeah, I don't, in my opinion, I don't want it to be, funny or unrealistic. let's provide some value for the community within trading. Okay, so go ahead, throw a question in chat. I would like to see some kind of value being added to the stream. A question regarding trading. Okay, I'll give some time for some questions to come across, and then I'll answer the question and I'll read it out as well. Giving some time for people to ask first so I can see multiple questions before we go into which question has a lot of value. I'll give you guys some time to throw some question in there before we pick from one. Let me read through some of the questions. A bunch of them are coming across. Very good job, everyone. Let's take a look. It has to be unique. You have to come up with the question. So for the people that are just copy pasting other people's questions, that's not going to work. Give them some time for people to ask before we get to the question. While we do that, let me take a sip of water as well. Thank you for your patience. Let me get back to the questions and let's see who is asking a very valuable question. Many questions here, so just trying to get through some, giving everybody a fair chance here. All right. Now, we'll go ahead and go through a very valuable question. This is actually something that I hold near and dear to my heart because this is something that I always wanted when I joined this business. Okay, so DH acquisition. Let me say that correctly. DH acquisitions. Very good job. This is going to provide a lot of value for people that are watching. If you were to teach an 18-year-old version of yourself how to begin trading, where and how would you start? This is what I hold near and dear to my heart because, in my opinion, this is something that I wish I had when I was starting. Okay. This is actually why I created a community, for the sole fact that it's hard to start this business because there's an abundance of information on the internet. You could quite literally type anything you want into Google and get some kind of answer. So it's hard to differentiate through all the information. Okay, so if you were to teach an 18-year-old version of yourself how to begin trading, where and how you would start, here's some of the things that I would say. the first thing that I would say is to know thyself. A lot of this business is a reflection of your characteristics, your traits. If you're impulsive, you're going to see that on the screen. You're going to be entering trades the very first second you can enter it. You're going to wake up, instantly smash the buy button because you're not taking the time to analyze. You're not taking, the chance to be objective to price. You are simply submitting to your emotions, and that's going to show on the screen. Okay, so the first thing that I would do to start is to start looking inward. Start understanding yourself. Are you disciplined? Do you go to the gym daily? Do you have a good diet? Are you patient? Do you read books? Do you speak over people when they're talking to you? Or do you allow them to speak and then you answer? These are characteristics that you need to know about yourself because it's going to change your management. It's going to change your executions. It's going to play a result in your business. Other than outside of this business, it's very important in day-to-day life to understand thyself. Okay, so looking inward, taking extreme ownership, and understanding thyself. Okay, that's the first thing that I would say. Take some time with yourself to learn about yourself so that you can know the flaws, know the strengths, so that you can build on those strengths and work on those flaws. So that's where I would start. And then how I would start is understanding that it takes money to make money. That's any business, whether it's this business or another business. So where I would start, how I would start is making money through a day job, through a side hustle, right? Go out, start applying to jobs, start working, and work as much as you can. The energy you put into this world is the energy you're going to get in return. So if you are disciplined and consistent in your work and you show up every single day, then you're going to get paid for your work, which in turn allows you to start trading. You have to have money to make money. Okay, so work is how I would start, and I would continue to keep working over that time. I would start with having a main source of income that covers all the bills. Make sure that your family and your health are always taken care of. That is the number one priority at all times. Doesn't matter what age you are. Family and health is the number one priority, and you have to make sure that they are safe and sound by working, by providing. Then work more. Go get a second job. Go get a side hustle so that that money is specifically meant for trading. Your family and health are always taken care of. That's not put at risk. You go get a second job to fund your trading business. Okay, so that is where and how, and that is something that I wish somebody said to me in the very beginning. So that's why it holds near and dear to my heart. So very good job, DH Acquisitions. Thank you for participating and providing value to the conversation. I think a lot of people can use that information to properly risk in the market. So very good job. Very good job. So W for DH Acquisitions. He or she will end up being the winner. So along with that question, we've yet to get an answer on the bullish or bearish, what we have on the screen. I'll provide my 2 cents. I have no bias right now. It's very clear that we're just going sideways. We're stuck in a consolidation, right? Ever since the market opened today, we had a nice push higher on the initial open, but ever since then, there has been no clear direction, right? So in my opinion, I don't have a clear level that I would say we're heading in this direction, right? So like yesterday's stream, it was clear that we were moving higher during yesterday's stream. Yesterday, we spoke about it was the 330 level. We did a very good job hitting that 330 level. Ever since then, we've just been going sideways. So this is one of those moments in time that I have no issue staying on the sidelines. In my opinion, every day doesn't need to be a trading day. Okay? Every day does not need to be a trading day. The days that you should trade are the days you're capable of clearly identifying your model, a bias, draw on liquidity. Those are the days that I would want to participate. And then I would need to have the self-awareness to know on those days that I can't identify those things to remain on the sidelines. Today is one of those days. Today is one of those days where I'm very happy about being on the sidelines. I have no issue waiting until things become more clear than this current consolidation. We've just been going sideways this morning. Patience is truly a virtue. In this business, there's a lot of time spent doing nothing. Okay, so if you can't have patience, it's going to be very hard making progress in this business. If you think that you need to over leverage and over trade every single day, you're going to be burning through accounts. On top of the mental capital that you save, right, during this moment in time, I have no stress, right? I'm saving a lot of mental capital, which in return will keep me here in the long run. Think about the long-term health of your business. If you burn out in the first week, first month, first year, how are you going to be here in the long term? It goes back to that question from DH Acquisition of knowing thyself. I know myself, and I know I don't want to burn out. Because I know myself, that's why I don't trade every single day. There are many points in time where I take the time to stay on the sidelines and be patient, then continuously clicking the button as many times as I can. Okay. This is probably where discipline kind of steps in, right? The discipline to actually be able to sit on the sidelines. There's many ways to talk about discipline, but it simply boils down to this. Doing something you don't want to do, but you do it anyways because it's the right thing for you, right? So you might want to trade, but the right thing for you right now in your risk management, in my opinion, is to not trade. So even though you want to trade, the discipline here would be to stay on the sideline for that reason. Okay. So discipline needs to happen in your day-to-day life. Do you go to the gym consistently? Do you eat healthy consistently? Do you have a routine that you follow daily? What you do in your day-to-day life is going to carry over to this screen right here. right? If there's ways to work on discipline, start the gym. Get a good eating routine. Start a diet. Eat something healthy. Your gut is directly linked to your brain. So if you're eating healthy, you're going to think healthy. Reading is another good one. You know, if you don't read, if you don't like to read, great way to build discipline. Read 10 pages a day. Okay? Whether you like to or not, it's going to build discipline and patience. So these are the things that will keep you around in the long term. Let me hop back over to chat. Let's see if we were able to hit that 1K. Let's take a look. I got to refresh real quick. Give me 2 seconds. Very nice. Congratulations. That's another goal. That's another goal hit. We hit the goal post. Very good job. Very good job. So we'll see. Let me see if that could get set up. Another deal. Great job to everybody in chat. Very good job. So we'll go over some more questions and comments. We got another 12 minutes here. We'll wait for Luke on that deal that we made of 1K likes. The man himself. I'll let him take care of that. While we wait for Luke, throw another question or comment in there. We'll go over some more information. Here's a good one. How important is fundamental analysis in your trading strategy, especially for short-term trades? It is something that you need to be aware of. Okay, so for example, all of the Trump news right now, it's very bullish, right? That is one of the fundamental factors that are occurring in our economy that continues to keep driving price higher. We need to be aware of that. When your fundamental analysis aligns with your technical analysis, that sounds like a lot more conviction than if you're only using the chart. So in my opinion, yes, it's important. It is not the number one thing that I focus on, but in terms of probabilities, that's what we do as traders. We're analyzing probabilities. And when we have higher probabilities, that would be a time where I'd want to engage, right? So seeing that the fundamentals, the news that keeps coming out about tariffs and trade deals is causing bullish price action, that would give me more conviction in those short-term longs, those day trades, longing on those short-term positions. And go back to last week's action, right? You saw me point to multiple long positions, actually majority long positions throughout all of last week, right? So the short term was aligning with the fundamentals, that would be when you're dealing with higher probabilities. And as a risk manager, as a trader, that's when I want to be engaging with price. Right? And we'll go back to some payouts. We just secured nearly a 10K payout on a 50K expert account at MyFundedFutures because of it, because of that trading. So very happy about that. Once again, I know I've said it many times in the past, but in my opinion, that 50K account is the best account on the market. So feel free to check my Twitter channel. The proof is shown there. You have those payout certificates that they do. You can just show it there or see it there. After a losing streak, what are some practical ways you manage to stay level-headed? So this takes some time, and the time that it takes is collecting the data. Okay? If you've collected so much data on your model, you should know what an average losing streak is, right? If you have multiple years worth of data on the model that you operate with, you'll know what an average losing streak is. You'll know what is good and bad in terms of losing streaks. And that's why I'm saying it takes time. It'll take you time to collect that data. I mentioned it earlier. Journaling is the #1 priority. That is one of the best learning opportunities. So if you haven't collected that amount of data, I highly suggest you do so. All right, I'm closing in on a decade of trading. So I have I'm closing in on a decade of trading. If I have a decade of trading showing me that, the largest losing streaks I've had are, 9 losses in a row, whereas the shorter losing streaks or an average losing streak are 3 to 4, then when that happens, I know that it's just a part of the model. You understand what I'm saying? It's just another data point. Okay. That way you don't get emotionally deterred during execution, that you know that it's just another data point within your data.
All right, Ashy.
There he is.
I'm here.
The man Luke himself.
Of course. And I do love this segment. How are we looking?
In terms
Was
of
the chat
price action,
behaving?
extremely choppy. This thing hasn't moved anywhere. We just continue to keep going sideways. In terms of chat, we're having a phenomenal conversation. And I do want to say thank you to chat. A lot of value being shared. The questions and the information is greatly appreciated.
So they were well behaved.
Well, majority of them.
A couple outliers.
Yep.
Should we pursue another gift?
We did hit 1K likes.
We did?
We did hit 1K likes. So I do think we achieved our first deal. And then also DH Acquisitions was the one that provided the best question.
All right. So DH, you are the recipient of an expert account. Congratulations. If your name is not DH, you can use code YouTube to get 30% off an expert account or expert resets. Take advantage of that. It's great. It's lovely. It's brilliant. And last but not least, we're going to do one more round of giveaways, guys.
Perfect way to wrap it up.
People are saying DH won last time too. He's just a good question asker, I guess. Congrats, bro. All right. Code is going on the screen now. Pre-market. Code pre-market. It's a hilarious code because the time is 11:26 a.m. Eastern. We're about 2 hours into trading. I think we probably got the order of the codes wrong today. Probably should have been the first one. But the code is, in fact, pre-market. If you got it, let us know. And Ash, final thoughts from you, sir.
Patience is a virtue. Today, my final thoughts are realizing that every day doesn't have to be a trading day, that you should deal with price action when you can identify higher probabilities. So, in my opinion, price has been very choppy today. So I'm more than okay with being flat and being patient and staying on the sidelines. This is one of those times where patience is truly a virtue.
Awesome. Alrighty, folks. We will be back here live at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you have your notifications turned on. Make sure you put a W Ash in the chat. And I will see you all tomorrow morning, Thursday.
Have a nice day, everyone.